Think you know everything about movement of substances? Let's test it out. In this question, aldol-triose and glucose are examples of carbohydrates, and we are going to identify the processes involved in the absorption of both aldol-triose and glucose by the animal cells, and you have to explain why. This is for 4 marks. 2 graphs are given for this question. One is in the presence of oxygen gas, one is in the presence of nitrogen gas only. Why is this significant? Because only in the presence of oxygen gas can respiration occur to release energy for active transport to process. In both graphs, notice that aldol-triose absorption is at the same rate. However, only in the presence of oxygen gas is glucose at a higher rate compared to when there was only nitrogen gas. What this means is that absorption of aldol-triose is by diffusion only, while glucose is by diffusion and active transport. When oxygen is present, respiration occurs to release energy for active transport of glucose to occur at a higher rate. When there is no oxygen, diffusion of glucose can still occur. However, absorption of aldol-triose is the same with or without oxygen. This means that active transport is not involved in this process. For this next question, we are looking at the processes that occur inside a cell. The cell in the small intestine secretes maltase, a protein molecule. You have to describe how maltase is produced and secreted out of the cell. So there's actually 2 parts to this question. The synthesis of proteins, especially for those to be secreted out of the cell, is usually done by ribosomes on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The secretion is actually done by Golgi body. So in your description, you must mention that the ribosomes on the RER will synthesize maltase proteins, which will be packed into vesicles that will bud off the RER towards the Golgi body. These proteins are then sorted, packaged and modified and sent out into vesicles again to fuse with the cell membrane before secreting out of it. Did you manage to get all the points? Comment below any other topics you might want me to discuss.